Well, after tons of misfires, we finally have a horror take on a classic story that I can really get behind. Let's talk about The Ugly Stepsister. Hey guys, AGYT Abbott here. Welcome to my review for The Ugly Stepsister. Technically this movie did come out last month. I believe it was around like April 19th, April 20th, something like that. Had a limited release in theaters, but recently it dropped on Shudder. Actually today, as I'm filming this, it dropped on Shudder. So if you have Shudder, definitely check it out. AMC Plus as well. Check it out on there. I don't know what other streaming platforms it may be on. It might be on VOD as well, on digital. But definitely check it out because this review will contain some spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film, definitely go check it out, come back, and we will talk all of the ugly goodness of it. I don't know. So I was really looking forward to this movie because back when the trailers first came out for it, I was like, alright, this looks pretty substance-coded. Not gonna lie, the trailer is very substance. And going to this movie, I was really able to appreciate it that, yeah, there is certainly some substance vibes still in here, the grotesque imagery and stuff like that, and this character where she is trying her hardest to prove herself and be, worthy of being noticed and being accepted by others at any, risk necessary. She is willing to do anything to, get ahead and be noticed and be popular, similar to Demi Moore's character in The Substance, where she takes this experimental drug and becomes Sue for, 7 days, and then, back to herself, and she tries to kind of build this life for herself that she's no longer having as her older self, as Sue, and then we all know how that went. Very chaotic ending to that movie. Here we have Elvira, and she has her sister Alma, and then her stepmother. They travel to this big house where the stepmother marries this guy that they think is pretty wealthy. Turns out he's not very wealthy. He ends up dying, and he barely has a penny to his name. So now they have this large estate, and the daughter of the father that they've now married into, her name is Agnes, and they eventually call her Cinderella. Over time, the power kind of shifts from, Agnes being like, look, this is my house, you need to start accepting it, and the stepmother kind of takes control, makes Agnes do the work, calls her Cinderella, and makes the stepsisters, the main priority, and is trying to get Elvira to be the one to be noticed by the prince. And her measures to try and get her noticed by the prince are very violent and very nasty, and it's kind of sad. It's not kind of, it is, it's sad. It's a sad movie, I'm not gonna lie to you. Just the way they take advantage of her, and they just use every opportunity to slight her in some kind of way. Even the teachers, they send her to a finishing school, and later on in the movie, when she's dancing with the prince, one of the teachers is like, "Oh, she was fat. She was, as round as a sphere when we got her, and I whipped her into shape." It's like, you guys are assholes, and they are giving her a nose job. They have her. Oh god, they do some nasty shit in this movie. They hit her nose a bunch of times and give her a restructured nose. They sew eyelashes onto her eyes. You're literally watching like twice. They go in with the needle and sew it in and go back in with the needle and pull it through, and it is some nasty stuff. And I'm telling you, whoever went to see this in the theaters, if you saw this in the theaters, how'd you do it? How did you do it? Did you not go with popcorn? Did you not eat anything during this? Because, my god, how the fuck would you eat watching this movie? Especially towards the ending of the movie. Some more disgusting bits to touch on. Elvira is given a tapeworm egg, which she swallows. And then later on in the movie, she is throwing up after she's been kind of rejected by the prince. And he sees Agnes, because obviously, Agnes is Cinderella. She gets help from her fairy mother. It's not even her fairy godmother, it's her actual mother that comes to her in, like, spirit form and tells her, the carriage and all this, go there with the shoes and the dress. She shows up, takes the spotlight away from Elvira, who was dancing with the prince, and then Elvira just starts getting bombarded by all these other guys who are creepy as fuck and just want her for her body. It's nasty people in this movie. Elvira starts crying and she gets sick and she throws up a bunch of tapeworm eggs. It is disgusting, and I gagged. I gagged multiple times during this movie, which I've seen a lot of nasty shit. John Carpenter's The Thing, The Substance, what the fuck else? Society. Some nasty shit in horror. This took the cake. Nah, not really. It didn't take the cake. I'm not saying this is, like, the peak thing, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of lately in horror, even The Substance, I didn't gag during The Substance. I was more horrified by what I was seeing. This movie made me gag. It's hard to do. It was just disturbing through and through. Certain story elements in this movie I think could have been developed a bit more if I'm getting into some nitpick sides of this, because I did really love this movie. But if I had to nitpick, Alma, the sister character, doesn't really get that much development. And is it just me, or does the Cinderella story not make any fucking sense, where the stepsisters are trying to make it so that they can fit their feet into the shoe? The prince has the other shoe, and he saw the girl. In this story, he's dancing with the ugly stepsister, Elvira, and then he sees Agnes, Cinderella, and goes up to her, and then she runs away, when the clock hits midnight, and then he has this shoe, and he's like, I need to find the girl. And then the stepmother is like, she chops off the Elvira's toes just so she can fit into the shoes, which, by the way, they didn't think that through, because she falls down the stairs, breaks her nose again, messes up her teeth, which they fixed, pretty much undoes everything that they've worked for in this movie. I'm tripping over my words here. But it didn't make sense in that regard. Like, why would you have chopped all her toes off and then just kind of left her there? Wouldn't you make sure that she's able to get up and get in the shoe? Which even then, like I'm saying, it doesn't make sense, because the prince would know clearly that that's not her, because he was dancing with her when he saw Agnes, the Cinderella. It doesn't make sense in that regard. Certain parts of this movie show more than I wish they would. Like, there is a full-on, it's not a long sex scene, but, like, they just show this dude's full-on dick going in, and then, then they show the cum everywhere. It's like, alright, guys, alright, I don't need to see all that. I don't need to see everything, okay? I get it. It's nasty. These people are disgusting. It's a disgusting movie, but I did love it. I'm giving The Ugly Stepsister an 8 out of 10. I thought that the little injected bits of comedy in here worked very well. Like, Elvira gives her name to the guy that's come to fetch names for the prince in terms of, like, girls to invite them to the ball. And then she tells her his name, tells him her name, and then he's like, Vaughn, like he's searching for her last name. She's like, and then Agnes is like, she's my stepsister, and then he's like, alright, Elvira Vaughn's stepsister, and that's how they announce her at the ball. That was pretty funny. So it's got the disturbing nature of The Substance, that really gross, zooming in on stuff, like she's squeezing her nose like a pimple and stuff's coming out in the beginning. That's within, like, the first 10 minutes. Nasty stuff. And then, of course, the eggs, the tapeworm, which she throws up in the end, and the sister is pulling it out of her, and it's steady going, like you're pulling, like a magician is pulling out handkerchiefs out of his mouth. That's how long it's going, and then she barfs it all up, like big piles of tapeworm are coming out. It is disgusting. I gagged. Again. So, I don't know how much I'm selling you on this movie, but if you love horror, if you are ready for a movie that has that uncomfortable nature of The Substance with some of that absurdist humor from, like, something like Poor Things, then this is the movie for you. So, hope you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully I didn't pull you away from the movie too much. Hopefully you still want to check it out. Nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Let me know if you've seen The Ugly Stepsister. What did you think about it? And until next time, take care and goodbye.